Okay, so really quick, last week did not go well. Just every tournament just kind of fell apart. Fiendsmith Ryziel felt really bad. I went 0-2 drop the first night, and then I think it was like 1-2 the next night, and then at the Suda sneak peek, or pre-release or whatever, I played Pure Ryziel with Eclipse Twins, and I was just really frustrated with how my last round went, so I just took the week off from doing recaps and stuff. But this week we're going to try a different version of Ryziel, just kind of for fun. Mostly tonight we'll see how it goes, and then tomorrow I'll probably be back to like the more realistic versions of the deck. But yeah, so let's see how this week goes. We're going to go through a very different version of Ryziel than normal. So I'll just go through the stuff that's normal really quick. 3 Ice, 3 Sword, 3 X Node, and then I'm playing Plasma Hole. I'm not playing Cross or Plugin. And the reason I'm playing Plasma Hole is because I'm playing the Trap Tricks monster. So it can actually send this because it's a whole normal trap, which is pretty cool. And then 3 Bonfire to go with that as well. That's it for the Ryziel cards in the main deck. And then the part that's the most different is 2 Volcanic Emperor, 3 Scattershot, 2 Rockets, 3 Electro Blaster, 2 Blaze Accelerator Reload, and a Volcanic Emission. So the idea here is that it's less of a standard Ryziel deck and more of a burn deck, honestly, because you have Emperor, which is burning on summon, and then you've got Scattershot, which burns for 15. So you have like all these burn cards, and you also have board wipes in the form of Scattershot and stuff like that. So it's less of a standard Ryziel deck, more of like a burn deck and just kind of like a grindier deck. This was something I saw, I believe it was on MCole40's channel. Somebody had played this to like 9th place at like a 10-round regional, the Philadelphia one, which is really cool. So we'll just go through a couple cards. Electro Blaster is actually a really cool extender from Battles of Legend. If you normal or special summon a fire monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, and then you can send a level 8 pyro monster from your deck to the graveyard. Volcanic Emperor happens to be a little late, which is pretty cool. And then if a spell card is activated, you can make all fire monsters you currently control gain 300 attack. So I mean, it turns into 2100 beater, but it's mostly just that it's a level 4 fire, which matters for Infernal Flame Banshee and stuff like that. But it's also just that it's a level 4. So if you special summon Sword Ryziel or you normal summon Volcanic Rocket, you can chain block with this, which is pretty cool. Rocket is just there to search to the reload. Scattershot, when it's sent to the graveyard, inflict 500 damage, and then if it's sent to the graveyard by the effect of a Blaze Accelerator card, you can send 2 more Scattershots to the grave and destroy all monsters your opponent controls, which is really good, obviously. It's just like a good board wipe. And then the last cards that we're talking about are Volcanic Emission and Emperor. Emperor here is a crazy card. Can't be normal summoned or set. It must be special summoned from your hand or graveyard by banishing 3 Pyro monsters or a Blaze Accelerator card from your face-up field and or graveyard, which is important because you can banish like just like random monsters that are sitting in your field and stuff like that. But then when it's summoned this way, you inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each banished Pyro monster, and then you can set a Volcanic Trap from your deck face down, and then each time your opponent special summons a monster, they take 500 damage. And this is a 3100 attack point monster, so Banshee can just special summon this, or you can search, I believe you can search this. I'll also, this can Foolish Burial it, so you can literally go Ice, special summon Sword effect, special summon this as well, search for another card, go into your Banshee, and then you just get to pop off from there. Special summon this back and do a bunch of damage, and then they're just stuck taking a ton of damage every turn, which is where like the burn effects come in, and also it being a 3100 attack point monster means that the clock is very short. This is basically an emergency teleport. The Volcanic Emission, you can only activate 1 effect, and you can only use 1 effect per turn. You can take a Volcanic monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or special summon it, ignoring its summoning conditions, but then you return to the hand in the end phase. So Emperor can summon a second Emperor, basically, and then do damage, which is really cool. Or you can target a Pyro monster on the field, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack, or if you targeted a monster you control, the damage is halved. So the reason why that's really good is because we are in a Ryziel dominated format. Ice Ryzeal is a Pyro. X Ryzeal is obviously a Pyro, so that gives you a little bit of extra utility there. But mostly it's that you're going to be targeting Detonator, and either they'll have to take the damage from the Detonator or they'll have to destroy itself, which is really good, because then it basically means that Volcanic Emperor becomes a board breaker. So that's it for that part of the deck. We'll have to see how this does. For the non-engine part of this deck, I'm playing for the hand traps. We're doing 3 Ash and 3 Ghost Mourner. Again, this is more of a burn deck than just like the standard Ryzeal deck, so Mortar being able to do burn damage is obviously going to be very good. And then I guess we'll just throw the 3 Extrav in here. This is the reason why I'm not playing Cross and stuff, is because I'm not playing like a normal Ryzeal deck. This is a burn deck, so and your extra deck is just full of repeats, so Extrav gets a lot of utility there. 2 Talents, because obviously you're going to force out hand traps a lot. 3 Forbidden Droplets, which can send your Blaze Accelerator, I believe it's Blaze Accelerator Reload is the name? Yes. As well as just like sending random cards to the grave. I've also just been wanting to play Droplet for a while. And then 2 Gravedigger's Trap Hole. This is why you make Rafflesia so early. This also just means that going first, even going into time, you can very easily win, which has been an issue actually that I've been running into, is that I've had a couple of games get really close to timeout, so being able to not have that be an issue is going to be good. Extra deck is 2 Duo Drive, 2 Detonator. I think the original one played 3. Not totally sure if I agree with that. I do agree with playing 3 Rafflesia because of the Hole Trap cards. 2 Infernal Flame Banshee. Instead of the 3rd Detonator, I'm actually playing Daigusto Emerald just to recycle my resources a little bit, because I do want to be able to do that. Unfortunately, despite being like such a grindy deck, not having Cross means you run out of resources. The 1 Eclipse Twins, this is the new card from Suda. It's just kind of like lets you recover, and thanks to cards like Rafflesia and stuff like that, you have even more options than ever before, which is really good. You only need 1 because of cards like Emerald, and also, again, like you're not playing pure Ryzeal, you are playing like a hybrid deck, so games aren't going to go the same way as they normally would with the multiple twins. I did try 2 of this in pure over the weekend. It was very good, though. The Gaga Cowboy, again, for burn damage. Baguska, the 1 Aggregator. I was going to play 2. I replaced the second one with Emerald, but you could also replace the twins with the second Aggregator, I guess, in theory. We'll have to see what comes up tonight. And then the SP, which is the only Link monster that I play. And then for the side deck, because there's so much Malice in my area, playing 3 Lancia. I gotta have that win button. And then playing 3 Fulos. And then 3 Heatwave. So because I'm playing so many like slower cards, I can theoretically just set a bunch of like Chainables and be fine with Heatwave. Also, I can just Heatwave and then threaten to kill them because of the Volcanic cards. So Heatwave actually just gets like a lot of agency there. And then 3 Anti-Magic Arrows. This is to punish people for letting you go into the battle phase. Malice will struggle pretty hard into this because they usually hold their D barriers and stuff like that. I mean, this also just punishes people for holding their cards. What it does is at the start of the battle phase, you can activate it, and then for the rest of the turn, after this card resolves, neither player can activate spell or trap cards or their effects, and then neither player can chain cards or their effects in response to this card's activation. So you go stand by main, battle, and then you just shotgun the anti-magic arrows, and they are locked down for the turn, and then you just have to deal with their field main phase 2, and you're fine. And then I'm playing 1 Duster, 1 Ultimate Slayer, just because I wasn't quite sure what to put here. Originally this was going to be Lightning Storm, but I figured the 1 Ultimate Slayer might work really well with like the Aggregator and stuff, and then the 3rd Gravedigger's Trap Hole. So that is the deck I'm playing tonight. I am honestly pretty frustrated with how I've been playing lately, and so and I've just been frustrated with dealing with the Fiendsmith version of the deck. I wanted to try something different, so we're just going to try this out tonight. I don't have great expectations, but it might end up doing pretty well. Who knows? We'll have to see. All right, Locals is over. We went 2-2. Not doing well at all. The Volcanic deck was cool. Wasn't very good, though. I lost round 1 to the Mitsurugi Ryzeal deck. That deck is terrifying. The Mitsurugi cards offer way more utility than I expected. I won game 1 just through like the fact that my monsters were big and he drew a really weak hand. But then games 2 and 3, I just couldn't do anything. Game 2, he did his full combo and I just died because this deck doesn't play any hand traps. And then game 3, I went first and just kind of fell apart, so that didn't really go well. I got the bye round 2, and then round 3, I played against... I don't quite remember what I played against, actually. I played against Labyrinth, which is a pretty iffy matchup, but because of the volcanic cards, actually, I was able to get really far ahead. Game 1, I did like this really scuffed combo, but I managed to do a ton of burn damage with the scatter shots and the Emperor, and then I ended up winning Game 2 with burning him through Gravedigger's Trap Hole and the Emperor effect on repeat. Pretty good. And then unfortunately round 4, I played against Fiendsmith Ryziel. I ended up winning Game 1 pretty hard. He ended up winning Game 2, just grinding out with all of his back rows. And then unfortunately Game 3, he ended up out-grinding me. One of the weaknesses I've noticed of this deck is like, you're not really playing a Ryziel deck, you're playing a burn deck. And unfortunately when everybody else is playing Ryziel decks and things like that, you can struggle in those grind games. Not having cards like Cross and Plugin was really rough. So we'll have to see how the next tournament does. I think we're gonna go back to a more standard Ryziel deck. I have a couple ideas on brewing. We'll see what we can come up with for tomorrow, but let's see how it goes. So last night didn't go well. In reality, I went 1-2. I had a bye, so I ended up getting a win there, but in the actual matches I went 1-2, which is not good. It's, however, pretty much on par with how I've been playing lately, and I'm getting a little frustrated about that. So we're gonna go back to the actual deck I was trying to play over the weekend, where I ended up going 3-2. And the only reason why I even got that second loss was because I used Ghost Bell on the Malice Field Spell, and my opponent happened to draw Terraforming. So then they got to activate another copy of the Field Spell and just popped off from there, which is unfortunate, but it happens. I'm not necessarily sure I should have used Bell on like the first thing. I was just trying to like keep him from playing, but it is what it is. I played pure Ryziel, and it went better than the Fiendsmith version has been going, so we're going to try it again. I'll show you guys the list here in a second. It's very basic, but we're going to try that and see how that goes, because I think that while the Fiendsmith version is more powerful, I think I should just play the pure version a little bit more, just to force myself to get better at making reads and judgment calls with that. So let's see how it goes. All right, so there's not a ton to show that's like unique or anything like that. I don't even really think there is anything unique about this deck. I just wanted to show you guys really quick what I'm playing tonight, just for the vlog. We'll have to see how it goes. Let's just kind of go through it really quick. So you got your standard 3 ice, 3 sword, 3 X node, and then cross plugin, and I'm of course playing Plasma Hole. I still think Plasma Hole is crazy, as well as now with cards like Enemy Controller and stuff being more popular with the Mitsurugi cards. I think being able to use Plasma Hole to like pop extra cards might be worth it, and especially if they take like one of my Ryziels, I always have Plasma Hole to maybe use to pop their other cards. I don't know. We'll just see how it goes. I just like Plasma Hole a lot. I like recycling it with Cross a lot. So, and then I'm playing the 3 Bonfires, of course. And then to boost consistency, we have 3 Pot of Desires and the 1 Pot of Prosperity. This is being played just because I wanted an additional consistency boosting card. I'm playing this over Call by the Grave, because I've just found that like Call by the Grave does not do enough, even with like the hand traps and everything like that. There's just a lot of games where you run out of consistency pieces, like just to have them. And originally I was doing 2 Desires and 1 Prosperity over the weekend. And I think that just having the 3-in-1 is more important than having the additional layer of defense, because you do have stuff like Cross as well as Cross Out Designator to prevent their hand traps. So I think that that's more beneficial than the Call by the Grave. For the non-engine, I'm playing 3 Ash Blossoms, 3 Effect Veilers, 3 Infinite Impermanence, 3 Molcharme Fulos, and then 2 Nibirus for hand traps. So there's no Bystials at all, which is something I'm a little on the fence about, at least in the main deck. But I think that this offers a ton of agency across the board, honestly. Being able to have 12 points that really, I think, hurt Duo Drive is going to be important. And then the Nibiru obviously is really good as well. Combining Nibiru with any of the other hand traps is obviously just going to be really insane. So, and then I play 3 talents because I think this card's like a no-brainer at this point, and then 3 crossout designators. For the extra deck, we've got 2 duo drive, 2 detonator, the Dweller, Emerald, double twins, Exciton Knights, Baguska, Dagaris, Tornado Dragon, Aggregator, Typhon, and Donner. So the Emerald is in there in place of what could be like this flex spot could be Castel. It could be the Light Dragon, although I think Castel is better. It could also be a second Aggregator. And the reason why I'm playing 2 twins, 1 Aggregator, and an Emerald is because of the games where Desires banishes like your Cross, or you don't get access to Cross because of whatever reason, but you have access to another rank 4. I think the Emerald is just going to be really good for that. The double Eclipse Twins is just for better recovery. And the 1 Aggregator is because I think that just because of the twins, I'm valuing this more than the Aggregator, honestly. I think Eclipse Twins is just like a crazy card, so I really want to abuse it as much as I can. And then the side deck went under some changes. One of the things is that I'm siding Lancia again over Chaos Hunter, especially with cards like Thrust being so popular. I think that it makes more sense to play Lancia, where at least then they can't add a extension spell like Engage or something to their hand. And like obviously, yeah, they're still gonna debarrier me most of the time, but at least like Lancia, you know, has that going for it. It's also just not able to be taken by talents, which does come up. So we'll have to see. And then 2 Druid Worm, 1 Magnemite. This is mostly going to be for the Fiendsmith matchups, but I just think that the Bystials are too good to not play right now. And then 2 Thrust, 1 Ultimate Slayer. This is another change, is that I'm just playing the 1 random Slayer, just so I have a searchable bit of going second removal. I'm not sure how this is going to go yet. I've never really been a Ultimate Slayer stan, so we'll have to see. And then the 1 Duster. And then one of the other cards I'm really going to see how it goes is Anti-Magic Arrows. So this is something that I saw Steven Santoli try, and a couple other players, and I can't remember who, but this is a card that I think is really solid right now, because most of the time they're trying to hold onto their D-barriers and stuff until you commit to the field, which makes sense, because then you've locked yourself out of resources. However, you just activate this at the beginning of the battle phase, and then the D-barrier is frozen. And especially against like the Malice deck, that's really important, because then it also means they can't activate their traps. And against stuff like Labyrinth, that's going to be really good, which is also a deck I do have to deal with. I'm not totally sure, and even against like Mitsurugi and stuff like that, because of their quick play spells, if they don't shotgun them before the battle phase because they know that this is coming, then they just like lose out on that. So I'm not totally sure how good this is going to be, but it's something worth considering. And then 1 Sanctum and 1 D-barrier. The D-barrier is mostly a cross-out designator target, honestly, because I feel like going first, if I get to play, I'm going to win. Like, the D-barrier isn't really going to matter that much. And D-barrier doesn't do quite enough to the other Ryzeal decks to truly matter. Because even the Mitsurugi Ryzeal deck will access fusion cards through the Nadir Servant, giving you draws and stuff like that because of Maximus. And then you also have the ritual cards in there as well. So then you have rituals and Xyz you have to worry about. And then Fiendsmith obviously has has fusions, synchros, and Xyz. Malice obviously doesn't even get hit by D-barrier. There's just so many things that need to get hit that like D-barrier is really just kind of there as like a preventative measure, mostly for their D-barriers. I was even considering taking this out for Metaltronus, and then taking out the Ultimate Slayer for second Metaltronus, so then I at least had 2. That is a consideration as well, because then I can also play Eclipse Twins with Metaltronus on, I believe, on their detonator. Let me check, actually, since we're doing this live. Let's take a look at Metaltronus, because that might actually, that's something I didn't even really consider too heavily until just now. Yeah, so it has, same type, attribute, and or attack. So can't do it on detonator, but on Let's see, what could we do this on? If they ever play hand attack, type, attribute, and attack. So if there's ever any light warriors that'll come up, or 2500 attack warriors, that's an idea. But Metal Tronus is something else I was considering it instead. We'll have to see. I think I'm gonna go with the Ultimate Slayer for tonight though, and yeah, I think this deck is gonna feel pretty solid. Basically, every recap now for tonight at least is gonna be really based on like honing in on not just like a match recap, but namely where reads were made, what made those reads possible. I'm going to try to isolate the footage to that if I can get footage of the games. I haven't really been feeling up for that quite as much, but I'm going to try to shake off those that bad vibe and see how it goes tonight. So let's take a look and see what goes on. All right, we are 2-0 in the release box tournament, actually. I forgot that this store always has a box tournament to celebrate the release of every booster set. So that's pretty good because I need a couple of cards. I need the Mitsurugi cards from the set, so hopefully I can get lucky and pull them. Out of my entry pack, though, I pulled the Mitsurugi Ritual Spell Quarter Century, which is pretty awesome because it's like $100, so that's going to cover a big chunk of the deck. But anyway, round one I played against Bestial Malice, and I ended up winning game one thanks to an extra Ryzeal on his Nightmare Griffin setup. And then the new Link 4 card is crazy. The Q Adobo thing, I don't remember the name, but that card was crazy. And then game two, I ended up using Fulos with Nibiru to quickly win the game. Then round two, I played against the Bestial Runic deck, actually. And game one, I won after a pretty long grind, which was good. Game two, I lost to Cheng Ying, and then game three ended up coming down to me having like 5 cards left in deck and using Imperm on Chaos Angel and then Donner to pop his monster and swinging for game. So we're 2-0. If I win the next two, I get the first place prize. Hopefully we do. All right, so we finished the box tournament undefeated, so we won this awesome box of Supreme Darkness that I'm going to open while I go over the last 2 rounds of the tournament. So obviously by winning, I went undefeated, and which is pretty cool. Sorry about the background noise, by the way. I have some machinery going in the background. It's like my washing machine. But anyway, so I went undefeated. I faced, what did I face round 3? I played against a Fiendsmith Ryzeal deck in round 3, which is pretty cool. I ended up winning game 1 just by grinding out pretty hard. He couldn't really keep up with everything just because he ran out of resources, which was unfortunate because usually the Fiendsmith Ryzeal deck tends to do pretty well. Ooh, Tenyu Spirit Mula Adhara. Very cool. So that was unfortunate for him there, but fortunate for myself, obviously, in that I won that match. And then in round 4, I actually got paired against a pure Ryzeal Mirror match, and that one was really intense. Game 1 came down to a lot of grinding and using the Eclipse Twins on repeat to bring back my detonator and push myself ahead, which is obviously insane. This card is very good, by the way. Just objectively, this card is really good. And then game 2 came down to, he had me start, which I was not expecting, but I drew my 1-of-D barrier that I sided into, and I had that as well as Cross-Out Designator, Ryzeal plugin, cross, kind of just everything. And he had Perulia'd me, so I had to play around the Perulia, Crystal Clearwing, over Synchro Dragon. This card's really cool looking. Managed to do that, and he just couldn't keep up. And by the time he managed to crack my board, I flipped D barrier, and unfortunately, since he's also on pure, he couldn't do anything through my board without HC summoning himself. And so I ended up winning out that match, which was pretty awesome. Also, oh god, this thing. I think I've pulled like 2 of this now. It's really cool. Out of my entry packs, I pulled the Mitsurugi Ritual Quarter Century Secret Rare, and out of one of my prize packs, I pulled my third Ultimate Rare Ghost Reaper Winter Cherries. So I'd say this is a pretty successful night overall, even if this box doesn't end up being too insane. Between pulling that and then I traded in for all the stuff, I can actually build the Mitsurugi Ryziel deck, which I think I'm going to try for tomorrow's box tournament. See if we can run it back with another solid performance there. Because I've seen that deck in action and it is terrifying. So I kind of want to get my hands on that and try it out. Queen Azamina. I don't know what these new Azamina cards do, so I should probably be paying attention. That is halfway through the box, I believe. 3, 6. That is just halfway. So let's see what we get here. Another Arcana Force EX, the Chaos Ruler. But yeah, so it was a pretty solid night. Pure Ryziel obviously went very well. A lot of my plays were being based off of just making sure that I can last through their non-engine, as opposed to just trying to like sledgehammer my way through. I was being a lot more patient and using cards like Crossout way more effectively than I was before, which is obviously pretty good when you're trying to get better. So it went pretty well overall. Hey, and Eclipse Twins. This is the very first one I've pulled in 2.5 boxes, so that's pretty cool. One of the cool things too was getting to use, hey, look at that card. Getting to use the Mitsurugi cards, because it means that I don't have to play Crossout Designator and stuff, which I'm not really a fan of playing. So any excuse to not play it, I'm all there. All right, I think we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So all the ultras are gone. So I think we just have one more secret, and that's it. Let's see what we get. Hopefully it's a good one. It'd be really good to get a Maul Charming Meowls. I need that card. 10 Infinity, 3 packs left. Can we get a Maul Charming? Nope, we got a Saint Azamina. Unfortunate, but that's okay, because this box is not the worst, actually. Still got some good ultra rares. Got an Eclipse Twins. Can't really complain. Got some good gameplay in, and you know, got all the stuff for just the entry fee, and a Gladiator Beast Gistel. So that is the report for tonight. We'll have to see how the Mitsurugi cards look tomorrow when I wake up, because it is like midnight and I'm tired. Last night went super well. You know, going undefeated is obviously a great feeling. We won a box of Supreme Darkness, which is honestly the best way to ring in a new quarter to the year. However, with all of the luck that I had yesterday, I got the stuff for the Mitsurugi version of Ryziel, and I've been kind of messing with it this morning, so I wanted to show you guys really quick what I have figured out for my list for today. It's very basic. I'm not even playing the stuff like the Nadir Servants and Dogmatica stuff. I ended up cutting that just because I wanted to see how just the bare bones engine does, and we'll have to see how that goes. There is a box tournament today as well, so maybe we'll get lucky and win a second box of Supreme Darkness. And as always, you know, I forgot to mention this earlier in the previous profile, but if you want to pick up any of these cards, use the affiliate link down below. You guys already know. So we'll just go through it really quick. It's 3 Ice Ryziel, 3 X Ryziel, which is now like the best one in the deck. This is like a 1-card full combo. I'm still trying to like memorize all the steps, but maybe I'll post it after the tournament just to show some of the basic stuff I was doing. 3 Sword, 1 Node, 1 Cross, and then 3 Bonfire. Typically, you know, like in the previous Fiendsmith version, I was playing Plugin, and I love this card, but I had to make concessions elsewhere, or to bring in cards elsewhere. So Plugin was like the easiest card to cut. We'll have to see how it goes without that card, though, because that is something that even last night was incredibly beneficial to have. And then there's 3 Fuelos, 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 2 Effect Veiler, 3 Imperm, and 2 Talents. That's it for the non-Mitsurugi cards. And I know I jumped into the non-engine, and that's because I want to spend more time talking about the Mitsurugi cards and like what they offer the deck than this stuff. This is all just very normal. So for the Mitsurugi portion of the deck, we have 2, Ame no Mirakumo no Mitsuragi. This is like the big boss monster. This is one of the craziest ritual cards I've ever read. Ritual with Mitsurugi Ritual, if it's special summoned, you can destroy all monsters your opponent controls, which is crazy because it just means it's a board wipe. So going first, that part doesn't really matter, but going second, that part is crazy. And also when you bring this back from the graveyard, that's really important. When your opponent activates a card or effect, you can activate this effect, and you can your opponent either discards a card or that effect is negated. So that's really important because like that just makes it so they either are losing a card, like they're losing extra cards no matter what, which is really hard to deal with. And then if this is tributed, you can add 1 Mitsurugi card from your deck to your hand, except for another copy of itself, and then you can special summon this card back. So if it's on your field, and then you tribute it during their turn, you can Rhoda, and then bring this back, and then board wipe. And that's actually how I lost on Thursday, was to that exact sequence, which is really crazy. This card's really good. And then there's Futsu no Mitama no Mitsurugi. You can, same thing, special summon it with the ritual spell. And then if your opponent special summons a monster, except during the damage step, you can target a reptile in your grave and special summon it, except for a copy of itself. So you can even just bring this guy back and then just like nuke their field for no reason, which is obnoxious. And that's once per chain. So it's not once per turn. And then if this is tributed, you can add a Mitsurugi card from your deck to your hand, except for a copy of itself, and then you can special summon it back. So they both can just Rhoda out like any of the Mitsurugi cards and then just bring itself back. So there's a lot of really intricate tributing stuff going on. And there's 2 Mitsuragi no Makoto Saji. When this is normal or special summoned or tributed, you can add a Mitsurugi spell or trap for your deck to your hand. And then if another reptile monster would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can tribute this instead. So oftentimes on the end field, you'll just like end with these just sitting there on the field. And the reason for leaving this just sitting on the field is so that way you can tribute it to protect your cards. So it makes it so this deck is even more resilient to board wipes than the Ryzeal deck already was, which is terrifying because Detonator made it so you were already really resilient to board wipes. And then Mitsuragi no Makoto Kusanagi. If it's normal or special summoned or tributed, you can target a Mitsurugi card in your graveyard or banishment, except for itself, or a copy of itself, and add it to your hand. So even cards like the Bystials and stuff don't necessarily cut you off from all your resources, which is one of the reasons why I kind of like this engine. And then if another reptile monster tribute battle or card effect, you can tribute it instead, which is obviously crazy. Also, these have like respectable stats. Like this is a 1600 like normal summon, which in some of the simplified game states will matter, I think. So we'll have to see how that goes. And then there's 1 Night Sword Serpent. This is a engine requirement, but I think it's pretty solid. Because you're going to be sending it off of your Mitsurugi Ritual from the deck, and then it'll special summon itself back. And there's 3 Mitsurugi Prayers. When you activate it, you can also tribute a reptile monster in your hand or field, and then apply one of these effects. Or if you tribute a monster at activation, you can apply both effects in sequence to add a Mitsurugi monster for your deck to your hand. And then the second effect is take 800 damage, and you can special summon 1 Mitsurugi monster from your hand or graveyard that cannot attack directly. So the cool thing about that is that this means that this card plays around cards like Valor and Imperm really well, and also can punish Droll, which is very good against this deck from what I've seen, because you are doing a lot of searching with all of these cards. But Prayers can let you kind of cheat around that, a lot like Wanted did. And also you can just get your first search in the draw phase, which is really good. And then 3 Mitsurugi Ritual. You can use to ritual summon any reptile monster. You can only use each one of these effects once per turn. You can ritual summon a reptile from your deck by attributing reptile monsters on your hand or field whose total level equal the monster. So if you have like these on the field and you want to summon this from the deck, you can do that. Or you can ritual summon a monster from your hand by attributing up to 2 reptile monsters from your hand, deck, or field whose total levels equal the level of the ritual monster. So it's really cool is when you get this guy in hand and this, you can just activate this and then Foolish Burial, 2 of these, special summon this, and then they'll both trigger. So you'll get a search and a special summon, which is really crazy. And then Mitsurugi Great Purification. This is like your Omni Negate. When your opponent activates a card or effect, you tribute 1 level 5 or higher reptile monster. Negate that effect, and if you do, destroy that card. And then also you can banish the card from your graveyard, then target 1 reptile monster in your graveyard, special summon it, and if you do, tribute 1 other monster you control. You can only activate 1 Great Purification effect per turn, and only once that turn. So this is an Omni Negate, which is insane, and then you can banish it, special summon back a guy, and then tribute a guy. And then so if you're bringing this back, you get to blow up a card, which is obviously crazy. So that's the Mitsurugi part. And the cool thing about this is that this is stuff that would normally be, like, these are slots that would normally be filled with non-engine. But now you get to just play more raw engine, and you're not having to play like the awkward stuff of the Fiendsmith, which obviously was really good, but sometimes conflicted with the levels and needing link summons and stuff. This is really just adding on to the power of the rank 4 strategy already, because you don't have to change your extra deck almost at all. And speaking of the extra deck, we have 2 Detonator, 2 Duo Drive, double copies of Eclipse Twins. This card is really important in this deck because of King of the Feral Imps especially. It turns King of the Feral Imps into like just a combo piece because you're repeatedly using it, which is obnoxious. And then Abyss Dweller. I'm trying Castel today. This was originally was going to be a Daigusto Emerald, or this is what it was, Emerald in my build last night. But we're trying Castel today because I actually noticed a couple times when I was playing that I really wanted Castel to be able to return cards. Removal that isn't destruction is really important right now, because Castel lets you play around Eclipse Twins, like sending back Detonator to target like if they'd be forced to chain their Detonator, and then they'd have to potentially play into Bystials and stuff like that. But also just like hitting face-up monsters to Book of Moon them is obviously really good. Or just targeting face-up cards in the field can be really good. So I think Castel is pretty solid. And then Exciton Knight, the 1 King of the Feral Imps, Blaguska, Dugaris. This card's really important. Not for its draw effect most of the time, but actually just for the special summon, because that's how you get around conflicting normal summons. Because your Saji and your Ice are both conflicting normal summons. So sometimes you have to just use Dugaris. You can use like Ice sending Saji and then use Dugaris to bring back the Saji and continue playing that way. And then there's 1 Aggregator, 1 Typhon, and Haggard Lizardos. This is just an insane card in this deck. And thanks to your, what is the name of this one? Sorry, I don't remember the names of these cards yet. Kusanagi, banishing reptiles isn't even that bad because you just get it back. So that's the extra deck that I have so far. And then my side deck is still a very big work in progress. It's also very much up for change. It could change, and if it does change before the tournament, I will make a note in the post-tournament report. But so there's 3 Lancia. I think that's just going to be standard. 2 Druid Worm and a Magnamut. Druid Worm is just like one of the craziest cards in the game right now. 2 Nibiru. The reason why I only have 2 Nibiru in here is because I had to make room for a single D-Barrier. And the reason for that is because I am still citing Crossout Designator today. I know I have always said I hate this card, and I really do, but I think that while I'm learning the deck, I need Crossout for sure, and also just being able to hit like their Nibirus can be really good, and potentially their Bystials, because you are putting a lot of cards in your graveyard, and I have a feeling that having your Ame no Murakamo and your Futso Bystial is going to suck, so being able to potentially cross out their Bystials is going to be really good. And then the last card I'm citing is 3 Anti-Magic Arrows. It's been 3 tournaments in a row, and it hasn't come up yet, or 2 tournaments in a row so far. Thursday, Friday, it hasn't come up yet. I'm going to try it again today, see how it goes. I think that this will be really solid. It's one of the only cards that can stop like the Great Purification, for example, because I can just prevent them from activating it, and then I can continue to play. So it's got benefits in the mirror match. It's also got benefits across the board. Especially against decks like the Malice deck. So this is the deck that we have for today, and let's see how it goes at locals. Just finished round 2 of the box tournament. We are 2-0 actually. So round 1, which you guys are seeing on the screen right now, I played against the Ryziel Malice mirror match, or Ryziel Mitsurugi mirror match, which was really cool. It's a lot of grinding back and forth, and games feel like they're a lot more in your control, even when you go second and you didn't open any non-engine to really stop them. Game 1, I won the die roll, and he actually meowsed me and drew like 3 cards, and I still set up a pretty hard-to-beat combo. He tried grinding it out, managed to break my board, but still couldn't do anything. And I actually made a huge misplay where I didn't realize that Mitsurugi Prayers can actually special summon back the ritual monsters. For some reason, my brain just like blanked on that, so I just chose not to do that when I had the ability to bring back the ultra rare guy, whose name I can't remember offhand, and that would have just like won me the game. But you know, that's fine. I still ended up winning game 1. It didn't really matter because he had no cards in hand, so even when he tried to do anything, I was able to push through it. And then he ended up winning game 2. Game 3 I very quickly won. I just opened up like the stones. And then I just played against Sky Striker Malice in round 2. Game 1, he opens Shifter, but unfortunately for him, because of how they're worded, the Mitsurugi cards don't care if they're attributed to the graveyard or just in general, so I was still able to do everything I needed to do with the Mitsurugi cards, including summoning the ultra rare guy to board wipe him, which is pretty crazy. Then game 2, he ended up winning. I just couldn't push through anything, so I went first. Game 3, opened up full combo through his Impermanent Ash, thanks to Crossout Designator, and he just couldn't muster up anything to get through board wipe, a negate, and a triple material detonator. So we are 2-0, 2 rounds left. Need to go X1 at least to get some prizes, hoping to go undefeated and get another box. That'd be really cool to open for the blog. So we will be back after round 4, I think, just to make it easier and see how it goes. All right, just finished up with the second box tournament, and we didn't pull away with the W, but we did get second place. So we got 16 packs here of Supreme Darkness. Let's crack in and see if we can get a better opening than yesterday. So last I left off was round 2. I was 2-0. Round 3, I played against Ryziel Fiendsmith, actually. And that was a close match. I ended up winning game 1 just by kind of pushing through his pretty weak setup. He only opened up with Fiendsmith cards game 1, and so when I started to do all my combos and stuff like that, he couldn't keep up. Ended up using the Mitsurugi cards after forcing out interactions with a lot of the Ryziel cards, and then used talents to take his Wave High King Caesar and win the game there, which is pretty cool. Ooh, Ripplebird. I need that. Ended up losing game 2. Just couldn't really keep up. Like, I couldn't do anything going second. My hand is pretty weak. And then game 3, he actually... Another one of these Argostars. And I've pulled 3 of these now. Game 3, he ended up activating Fulos. He ended up using like 2 Veilers, an Imperm, and an Ash as well. I just couldn't break through everything. I ended up getting the Mitsuguri cards to have like the Omni Negate as well and stuff like that, and he just couldn't do anything. And then round 4, I played against Mark, who got second place at Worlds, as I've mentioned before. Best player in our area by like a mile. And he was also playing the Mitsuguri Ryziel deck, but he was playing... Oh, I actually needed this. He was playing the Nadir Servant Maximus package that I had actually chosen to omit earlier today. And it definitely showed why you got to play those cards. It just propelled him so far ahead with his ability to push with all of his like rituals and stuff like that. So he ended up getting second place. You know, we'll have to see what we get. We only have 4 packs left. Our secret wasn't great, but that's fine. It's really just about the experience getting to play and see what we can do. So I think we're going to change up the deck a little bit more, add in some Nadir Servant cards with the Maximus, and see what that can do for us. Because, oh man, last pack magic, please. Because I think that just really lends to a better pacing in the deck. Oof, not a great opening, but that is okay. So in the last 24 hours, I have won a box and over half a box. So I've won 42 packs total of Supreme Darkness. So I think that that's pretty solid. And I have everything I need out of the set, so I'm going to be opening up Legendary Duelist, Duelist to the Deep for 7th Tachyon, and probably Rarity Collection 2, trying to get some of those awesome Quarter Century Secret Rares. But week 9 was a success. Let's see how week 10 can go.